Welcome back to the Founders Arms. Today's guest is a man who has lived the full founder's arc, from the scrappy startup days to a high-stakes exit and beyond. As the co-founder of Imagine Insights, Jay Richards, hello, didn't just build an agency, he built the bridge between the world's biggest brands, Google, Amazon, Pepsi, etc., and the brutal, unfiltered honesty of Gen Z. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. He's navigated the heartache of collapsed deals, the intensity of a major acquisition, and the unique challenge of staying on after the sale. Today, he's leading the charge in the creative economy and proving that there is life and serious growth after the exit. He's here to talk about the reality of M&A, the mistakes founders make with equity, and why your brand is probably still getting Gen Z wrong. Jay Richards, welcome.
Yes, brother. Appreciate you having me. Also, that intro was quality, bro. That was very good.
Do you like
the way just for everybody knowing, he just rolled that off. His first time, didn't even have to know, just straight
Story
on.
time.
Love that, bro. I'm here for it, man.
Yeah, how you doing?
Good
to have
brother.
you, mate.
Yeah, thanks for having me, bro. No, I appreciate it, man. It was good. I liked receiving the email because sometimes you get these and I'm like, I don't know if I can be bothered. But I had a couple of episodes. And I'm like, yeah, you know what?
No. I know you kind of said to me over email, you were kind of like, oh, is this right for me?
Yeah.
Because obviously we'll pick up on your story in detail. But I'm really excited about this episode because I think we speak to a lot of founders and a lot of founders in kind of, I guess, in our sort of world, creative industries, agency models, that sort of stuff. And we have some planned with founders who have built product and that sort of stuff. But that's a very kind of different beast, isn't it? But I think a lot of founders I speak to are in the work, doing the work, and they're sort of almost a bit wedded to
for sure.
that business. But I think what's really interesting about you, and I think what a lot of people will pick up, is that you can start a business, you can do a thing, and then you can sell it. And I think I find personally that whole selling the business conversation really interesting because I think I started Lawless, and 2 years in, people were saying, what about the exit? And what about this? I didn't even know what a bloody exit was, right? So I was kind of like, I think this is going to be a really interesting chat. I had a little stalk of your LinkedIn, as you do, and we'll get into Imagine, get into Disrupt. But what really interested me was you go down and there's like a string of like different jobs, but this here says series of failed businesses.
Bro, Jesus.
And you've got event marketing, an online estate agents, fashion label, and even a jewelry brand. I tried about 10 different businesses from the age of 13. They all crashed and burned. So was that kind of part, you before starting Imagine, there's clearly something in there, right? That you've always been trying stuff,
Yeah, for sure.
doing stuff. So maybe talk us back to like before Imagine, how you got to that point and how you've been sort of figuring out how to pick things up yourself and run with them.
Yeah. So from my perspective, I'm son of immigrants. So my parents came to the country, started a family, built everything from the ground up. And so I'm always around entrepreneurs because one thing you know about immigrants is they'll be working their full-time job and they'll be doing something on the side because it's how you make more money. And it's an entrepreneurial mindset. So I grew up just watching my mum building things, trying things, doing things, some successful, some not. She had employees at some points and she did really well for herself and built a good life for us, to be fair. We weren't wealthy in any means, but we were comfortable, do you know what I mean? And I think I remember when my parents, they bought their first home and I remember being like, I was going to my friend's house, like, oh no, that we live council. And I was like, oh shit, like, my parents own their home.
Yeah.
And like, I didn't realize how much of a big deal that was until I got a lot older. Do you know what I mean? Like we didn't have much else, but we owned our own home. So you could never kick us out type thing. So that was, being around that then spurred that in. So I think when I was maybe my first business, I was probably like maybe 13 or 14, started a clothing brand called Legacy where I'd just print like a cross onto t-shirts. Don't know why it was a cross, but I'd just print a cross onto t-shirts. And then I would pay kids to go to the local school on a Friday. So they'd go all around all the schools. And they would basically, the shirts were £15 and I would say I'd give you £5 for every shirt sold. So it was like, for them, they were laughing because the shirts were costing me £1.50 to make. I was giving them a £5 per one that they sold. So I was just like, mate, I'm making what, like £8, £8.50 on every single shirt. So for me, I was like, yeah, wonderful. And these kids were like, mate, I'm making a £5 for every single shirt I'm selling. So they were just like flogging them like crazy. And then I got in trouble with the school because the school was just like, these students are disappearing on a Friday afternoon. Where are they going? And everyone was like, he's making them sell t-shirts. So that for me was the beginning of it all, where it was like, okay, cool. Like I can make money. And I remember my mum came into my bedroom and I said this on a podcast a couple of years ago. And I remember she opened this bag of money I handed under the bed. So my mom's from Jamaica. So she opens this bag of money. She just looks at me and She just thinks, she's like, what have you been doing? And I'm like, no, like, it's legit. Like, I'm selling t-shirts. She's like, oh, okay, cool. Because I was very good at misbehaving when I was younger. I was good at being bad. So she just assumed I was up to something nefarious. And she was like, no, what have you been doing? I was like, no, it's all legit. That's all good. And then she was just so impressed. She was like, yeah, like, do your thing. She's like, as long as your studies don't slip, she's like, crack on. So it's always been in the DNA just from a very young age because I've just watched it happen around me. So now just constantly was starting things. Went to university, started nightclub promotion company, then graduated, started trying to sell houses, and I don't know what I was thinking I was doing, but I was just, and ended up working in estate agents and moved on from there. But yeah, various businesses, loads of different things, pretty much all of them crashed and burned, but there was opportunities to learn lessons. And every single one taught me something that I could take on to the next, which is great.
Okay. And did, so you say they all crashed and burned, but presumably they weren't like your main thing, right? They were just things on the side.
Yeah, I was always working a full-time job somewhere. So I was when I was at university, then I graduated, I went to, worked as an estate agent. I was running a business on the side. Then I started selling security alarms in Harlesden. Did that for a while. Don't try and sell security alarms in Harlesden. It's just not a vibe. It was mad. I remember just people trying to, because I had an iPad. And I remember the lads would just follow me on the street trying to steal my iPad. And I was like, bro, please, man, I can't, like, get into my Vauxhall Insignia, driving away at speed, trying to get away from these lads. But I still had a business. I had something on the side then. And then I got headhunted by an insurance firm and still had businesses then. And then that's what led into my first business, which my next business, which led into Imagine. So, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So talk me through the starting of that then.
Yeah, so basically I was working as a consultant in the city. So I was working for an insurance firm and I was basically brokering insurance between like British Airways and the firm that I worked for, between like, I don't know, the Kering Group, which owns like Gucci and blah, 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 blah. Like I would negotiate all of that kind of stuff and they would bring me in, I'd meet with the FD and like, be like, okay, cool, you want private healthcare for the entire firm? This is what it would look like. Or you want cash plans for the entire firm? This is what it would look like, blah, 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 blah. So I did that for a few years and transparently, it was good money. And I remember early doors, I clocked on that if you sold at this firm, it's hilarious. When I spotted the loop, I was like, why is no one taking advantage of this? You got paid the same commission whether you sold 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years. So I was like, everyone's trying to flog a 3 year. I was like, man, I'm just going to sell multiple 1 years. So I just spanked these 1 years, like absolutely crazy, just moving crazy, selling these 1 year contracts. And
they were what? Less risk for the person buying?
It was less risk for the person buying. And from my perspective, I was like, I don't care if you buy 1 year, 2 year, 3 years. I'm like, it's the same for me.
Fine.
So I was just creaming it from this. And then they clocked that and then changed the commission structure after like 3 months. So I'm enjoying that. I'm making really good cash. And I was like, you know what? I'm from East London, so Stratford is where I am now. And I was like, you know what? I want to invest in kids that grew up in my area, that are trying to do things, trying to take a risk on themselves. So I went to a local school called in Tower Hamlets called Bishop Challoner, and I went to them and met one of the senior leaders there, and I was like, I want to invest in kids in your school. Like, I'm willing to give them cash to start their own businesses. I just want them to go through a program, pitch their business to me, and then I'll just give them cash and let them give it a go. So I did that for a few months, had a whole bunch of kids come to me with these insane ideas. Like, none of them made any sense. But I was like, you know what? I'm like, here's a bit of cash. Like, take a chance on it. You know what I mean? And for a lot of these kids, they're black kids from my area. So they're looking at me going, oh man, like, guy that looks like me, giving me cash to take a risk, not expecting anything back really. Like, I'm like, oh, you're gonna, I didn't make them sign anything, but I'm like, oh, it's like a handshake deal, blah, all that kind of shit. And these kids are just went off and they're just excited about it, pitching their ideas back to me, blah, blah, blah. So I started that in 2018. And then off the back of that, I was invited to speak at Facebook. So Facebook said, we want you to come down, speak at Facebook and tell us about what you're doing with these young people. So I was like, you know what? My only prerequisite is I want to bring some of these kids with me to Facebook. And they were like, all right, sounds. So I brought 20 of these kids from Bishop Challoner to Facebook, and they're like locusts. They're like eating all the food, they're running around making noise. I'm like, shit. I'm like, you're embarrassing me, lads. I'm like, everyone sit down, stop it. I'm trying to get them under control or whatever. But it was a proper good laugh. And then I got on stage, talked about the importance of entrepreneurship and yada, yada, yada. And then while I'm doing that, the head of retail from the NFL is in the audience, a woman called Sarah. So Sarah comes up to you after. She's like, oh, see, you've got this network of young people. Could they help us to create a marketing campaign? I'm like, why the hell do you need these kids to help you create a marketing campaign? So I was like, let's go for dinner. So I took her for dinner to Soho House, went for dinner that evening or a couple of nights later. And when we're at dinner, I realized the crux of her problem was she couldn't get qualitative insight at scale from this demographic. So I was like, oh, maybe like, there could be a business opportunity in this. So I went away, built like a rudimentary version of the technology we've got now. I'm talking like I used YouTube to like get sheets to talk to. Like it was terrible. Pitched it to her and was like, how much would you pay to access these young people using this technology? And she's like, I'd give you 30 grand. And I was like, mate, what? She's like,
Unlock moment,
yeah,
right?
literally.
You're like, okay.
I was like, all right, there's cash in this. So then I quit my job 6 weeks later, and that was that. And then literally, it was Div Inc. So that was the name of the business for like a year and a bit. And then my co-founder joined about a year and a few months after that. And then her first thing when she came in was like, yo, we need to change this name. This name's terrible. So then we changed to Imagine, and then the business just went from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was when, 2019?
2019, yeah. So I started Diving in 2018, and then it pivoted. The name changed in 2019, yeah. Yeah, man, bro.
What a story.
Yeah, insane.
I just assumed you'd had a background in insights, research.
No, bro.
Because to be honest, a lot of people, and again, everyone's story is completely different, but a lot of founders, I'm certainly one of those, and my business wasn't a cookie cutter what I was doing before, but I'd spotted something and it had real tentacles into what I was doing before. And a lot of people kind of do what they were doing.
Yeah, for sure.
Build something for 5, 10 years in a career, and then go, actually, circumstance or whatever, an opportune moment, they go off and do it for themselves. And a lot of people start as freelance and then build a kind of business out of it. At least that's definitely what I did. But it sounds like you did it in such an organic and kind of real way. It was kind of something that was there, and it was just you sort of giving back to kind of community and doing something sort of out of your own kind of volition. And then the interesting thing is the brands sort of, because there's so many people that say they do that, and say they do this, and say they are in touch with culture, in touch with community, and kind of can reach like demographics of people, as you actually, people saw that you actually were doing that. Yeah,
for sure, 100%. And I think it's it being born how it was, and the impetus of the business coming from where it did, it made it a lot more fun, made it a lot more challenging. Because like I'm speaking to like market research people. So she was the head of retail, but then obviously I started working with the research team, and they were like, okay, so like, what's your qualitative research background? And I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, I just said there that I knew she couldn't get qualitative insight at scale. But the point, I didn't know what that. I just said long form insight at scale. I didn't. It was about 2.5, 3 years in. I did a TikTok about this the other day. I didn't know the difference between qualitative and quantitative research. Really? I was on a panel and someone was like, "What made you focus on qualitative research?" And I was like, "What?" And I was like, "Oh yeah." Then but blundered my way through that. And then did a quick Google after. I was like, "Okay, these are." So I had no idea what I was doing. I just surrounded myself with experts that were researchers. They knew what they were doing. I was like, I can do the gift of the gab bit.
Fine.
I had a great operator and my co-founder, and I was like, all right, cool, let's bring in some smart people that actually know the research space and build from there.
Okay. So presumably you had to win a few clients early.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And then how was that done? Was that a retainer model? Was it kind of
project-based? So initially NFL was project-based, and then quickly realized that wouldn't be sustainable if I was trying to build something. So I was like, all right, cool. We kept them on for a couple of projects, and then PepsiCo and eBay then became retainers. So I was like, all right, cool. You'll do a few projects throughout the year, and then and it scaled from there, which was good. So it was kind of like, but then from my perspective, in my naivety, I didn't realize that having the NFL, PepsiCo, and eBay was a big deal, because I just didn't know. I was just like, well, you just win clients. I'm prolific on LinkedIn, like I love it. You talk about earlier about it. Like I've been posting every day for 7 years, and like almost 8 years now. Like LinkedIn for me is just gold. So I was in people's DMs. I was like, yo, like, I'm here. Yeah. I'm like, if you want this stuff, shout me. And I was just giving people value, just sending them free stuff, doing whatever I needed to do. So then when they thought of Gen Z Insights, I was the first face that popped into their minds. And people would reach out to me like 2 years later and be like, you sent me a message 2 years ago, and somebody in one of the meetings mentioned Gen Z Insights, and I went back and found you. I just typed in Gen Z Insights on my LinkedIn and you came up. So it was that kind of graft energy then built us and took us where we were going.
And I think LinkedIn's such a valuable tool. It gets a lot of hate.
Yeah.
And it's changed over the years.
Yeah.
But I think when I started Lawless, I had a career in media before that. So a lot of my clients, colleagues, old clients, and kind of people who I'd want to speak to about this business were on it.
Yeah.
I started Lawless Studio. No one knew what Lawless Studio was because I'd just started it. But they knew who Josh from XGQ, etc. was. So I'd be hammering. And the same thing as you, I kind of made it a thing of posting content every day
Yeah.
and using it as a channel to
Yeah.
create content. And it's that relentlessness that you sort of, I don't know about you, but I have to, I don't know if you've got anyone helping you doing it at the minute, but I still kind of pretty much write all my own posts.
Yeah, same.
But
Yeah.
it's kind of like, I don't know if you ever get this where you're like, oh shit, I've not got anything scheduled for like
Right.
the next 2 weeks. And then you go into a mad one and then it's like, right, okay. And then you have the next 3 weeks scheduled. And then you're like trying to chop and change posts around because you just thought of something that's a bit more newsworthy. And you start tricking yourself into thinking you're like a news channel.
Yeah.
But I guess when you've got a relatively
100%.
decent following, you
for
start to become that, right? So
even if it's sorry to interrupt, even if it's 1 or 2 people following you, all it takes is a couple of people to like that, and then it starts to pick up, and suddenly you've got 10,000 people following you. It doesn't take much, to be fair.
yeah. So that was a crucial marketing channel for you then.
Yeah, for sure. I would argue. Let me not bullshit. I would argue probably 85% of our revenue came directly from my personal LinkedIn. Like it was crazy. Like and it wasn't because I was like, oh, this guy's a genius, blah, blah, blah. It was just it's the compound effect.
Yeah.
He's constantly talking about this stuff. So when we're thinking about somebody that we want to work with, he's just top of mind because he's been in our face. And we also, aside from that, I built an email newsletter, which definitely wasn't GDPR compliant at the time. I built an email newsletter of like 13,000 people that they would basically they would receive an email once a month from me being like, yo, this is what's going on in your specific space. This is what's going on in beauty with regards to Gen Z. Boom. Here's some insights from our community. Boom. So for those people, their email, like I was a friend of mine's is an actor and he's in the new Mortal Kombat movie. Great guy called McCard Brooks, and he invited me to the screening in London. So I was like, yeah, 100% I'll come. So I went with him, and then after there was a dinner with the Warner Brothers executives and the cast. So I'm in this table and I'm sat next to this guy called Martin. So Martin and I are talking, and Martin's like, where do I recognize your name from? We're waffling, and I'm like, well, I don't know. And he was like, do you send a monthly email? And I was like, yeah. He goes, bro, I've been getting your email for years. I wondered where you got my email from. I was like, bro, you don't want to know, man. I was like, I'm out here just guessing people's emails and shit. But it's stuff like that where you don't realize when somebody's going to need something. So you just need to be there. Just be present, be in people's faces. And that's one thing I was very good at. Because that shame thing, that some of us, I do get shame, but that I don't really have that correlation in my mind. I'm kind of just like, well, I'm going to post it. And if you don't like it, it is what it is. If it gets 1 like or 10,000 likes, it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to put it out anyway.
I think when I've given advice to people, it's like, just do the thing. Just post the
sure.
post.
Yeah.
Because, no offense, no one's probably going to see it.
Yeah, and nobody cares.
I all the time, I think I've got this wicked post. It's a really kind of tight point of view. And it's so good. And then it's like, it goes up and it tanks. And then I do a selfie in front of the Banksy statue. Not really any point of view at all. Nothing kind of incredible. Yeah. And that gets 10,000 or 100,000 whatever. And you're like, okay.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah, there's no rhyme or reason. I think, and hopefully you sort of echo this. It's just do it. Just get 100%. It out there because that's your story is proof. 100%. It's just relentless hustle, right?
Couldn't agree more, bro. 100%. Couldn't agree more. I think you hit the nail on the head, bro.
Yeah. I mean, love it. I'll skip to other references because there's so much I want to unpack. But you built a qualitative research company without knowing what qualitative meant, really. But you saw it kind of happy accident, but you started to build it and you cottoned on to something that brands were kind of looking for. Yeah. How do you then? At what point did you start to scale it and think, okay, this is something that needs? I mean, did you have a team from the off? I mean, I know you mentioned you had a co-founder.
Yeah, definitely client demand. Clients are coming going, hey, we need this, we need it quicker, we need it faster. And I think we quickly realized, I was like, okay, we need technology. I was like, being an agency is great, but I was like, it just wasn't scalable for us because the amount of data we were receiving from the community and the speed the clients needed it just wasn't. We just weren't able to keep up with it. So from my perspective, it was going, okay, cool. How do we build technology? And that's when we brought in my CTO, Pete, who's like literally one of my closest mates now, and I'm always sending him crazy ideas and stuff we want to build next. That's when we brought in Pete, and we were like, okay, mate, like we need to scale this. I'm thinking XYZ. I think we should have a technology where clients can log in, they can enter their own questions, but then still on the back end, we can still use it and yada, yada, yada. And he was like, yeah, cool. It would look like this. It could feel like that and whatever. And like UX, UI design is not my thing. I love the idea. So I'm very good at the idea going, okay, cool. This is what I see. This is what we should have. And then Kat and my co-founder, Kat and Pete and the rest of the team are very good at being like, okay, cool. How does that practically look?
This is how we build it.
Yeah,
This is how we do
100%.
it.
Yeah, 100%. And I'll be like, no, okay, I don't like that. I don't think that's good. Let's change that. And just in that process, we built a technology that meant for clients, they could go, okay, cool. I put my question in, I come back in and I've got my data. I can see what the consumers are saying and I can engage it in a simple way.
So then what talk me through the kind of the growth of the team? I think you said you were a team of 12 at one point.
Yeah, so it was Kat and I at the start. And then as more clients came on, we would just hire incrementally.
Yeah.
And transparently made a bit of a faux pas 2020, like COVID times, like 2021, 2022. Amazon Prime Video, massive client of ours. And like we were doing like year one with them, we did insane numbers. Year two, they tripled what we did in the previous. They were like, yo, we're going all in.
Yeah.
So we were just like, generally I was like, we've made it. Like it's only up from here. I'm a genius. Like it's done. Like everything's good. Like everybody retire.
Triple growth.
Bro, 100%.
Like,
I'm like year on year. I'm like, I'll be exiting 2 years. Calm. Yeah. I'm like, it was like in my mind, I was like, yeah, we're sorted. So we hired a lot. Too much. And we had shit tons of people, really senior people, and you mentioned it earlier, hiring really senior people who were very good, but very bloody expensive. And then we had a client cancel. Actually, we had Prime Video cancel. So halfway through the contract, I just get a phone call from some geezer I've never spoken to in my life, and was just like, hey, it's Raj from Prime Video. I'm like, hi. And he's like, so we're going to cancel our contract? And I was like, yeah, you can't do that. You're in a 12-month contract. And he was just like, yeah, good luck. And I was like, huh? Yeah. What do you mean?
Sharp lesson quite quickly.
Bro,
like, oh,
I was like, shit. So I've got all these people and I don't know, like literally had no idea what I was going to do. So Kat and I were just like it's crunch time. Started to fill in some of the revenue, but then it was like, so cool. We'd scale the team because we'd scale the team to look after Prime Video.
Yeah.
And then boom, it's gone.
Classic agency thing, isn't it? Isn't it in Mad Men? Lucky Strike. That pause and the whole model changes. But how quick were you to act then, in terms of getting rid of people and sort of changing the
like
team?
within moments, like literally. As soon as I got that call, I was like, okay, cool. We would, and the thing was with Kat and I,
that's hard to do. That's the fair play.
We just had to be super honest. This is like, we can keep you guys because we can do it. We could keep you guys, but we won't be here in 12 months. So that's just the truth. And that taught me a massive lesson. Like I don't think I've ever had sleepless nights like I had that. I was just like, what are we doing? I was like, what? Why did I start this stupid thing? I was like, whoa.
There's nothing like just seeing the staff cost every month and payee and national insurance and understanding, and then adding to that can be exciting.
Yeah.
I think I do think when you have your own business, there's definitely a way that the patter is and the conversation is that people are like, how big is your team now?
Bro, hate it.
How big's your team?
Hate it.
How big is your team? And it becomes a kind of earmark for success, right? The bigger you get, the more successful you get. But no, only maybe founders realize this, and CFOs, and only they realize that the more cost you take on, the more
it's riskier. Profits, for real. People ask me that now, and I just change the subject. I'm like, I don't want to talk about that. I'm like, because all we're doing is, forgive the word, but dick measuring. Like you're I've got 13 people, I've got 150. Bro, I don't care. I'm like, what's your EBITDA? What's your EBITDA? How much profit you making? I'm like, talk to me about the numbers that are actually going to affect you going forward. Because you could tell me you've got 200 employees, and the business is in the bin. Like it doesn't always correlate like that. And it's I got caught up in I've got 13 employees and say not on panels and blah, 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 and all that nonsense. And it's ego. Like I'm a human being. And there's the ego is always going to be involved. And I got caught up in it, and we were like hiring. And like I said to you earlier, I was like, at one point I was taking like first class flights. Like, where am I taking first class flights, man? Who are you? Like, it's not that deep. Like, literally fly economy, you'll be fine. Do
you think that ego's wrapped up in founder-led businesses more maybe than other, if you're an employee? I think easier to fall into that trap potentially?
I think when you're an employee, it's easier to spend the boss's money. So you'll be like, I'm flying business and I only fly business, because I've had people say that to me. But I think I allowed myself to believe in not my own hype, but believe in the hype of the business, and how well we were doing, and it was the biggest schoolboy from my perspective, biggest schoolboy era, and I will never make the same mistake again. So now I'm meticulous
Yeah.
with the money, and it's because I just look at it and go, this might not last forever. And there's a scripture in the Bible that talks about basically just being smart in lean years, being smart in the fat years, so in the lean years you can survive.
Yeah.
And I'm 100% down with that now. And the thing is all the things that it's like, I remember friends of mine started buying Rolexes and stuff. And I remember buying stuff and I'm like, this isn't me. Like, I don't even want a Rolex. I bought a Rolex and I remember I was in the airport and the guy said to me, love the kettle, bro. And I sat there going, what are you doing? You don't even want this. You're doing it to impress this guy, but you don't even know this guy. Like, what are you doing? And then I was like, you know what? This is who you are. Is this? Don't become this because you think that's what everybody thinks you should be.
Yeah.
So I began to just strip all that back, go back to basics and go, okay, cool. Let's build something that's profitable. Let's build something that makes sense. Build something that we enjoy doing that's not going to kill us, and go from there. But going forward, anything I build ever in the future, I will have the smallest team. I will have the smallest number of people humanly possible. Keep it lean. And then everybody gets a great salary. Everybody gets paid leave. Everybody gets time. Everybody gets whatever they need, they have. And then you get equity, and you build and all those things. You get all of that because the money is great to go around. Because there's a company called Flow, the female tracker app for their monthly cycles. And that guy, as far as I remember, I might be misquoting, but I'm sure he had a team of 40 and he was doing like hundreds of millions in revenue. Like that for me is the future. I'm like, what, you could do 100 million, you've got a team of 5 people, gold.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like the revenue per head count is insane. That to me is impressive. You having 1,000 employees, but him or her having 5, but you're doing the same number of revenue.
Yeah,
I'd rather
100%.
I'd be.
You sound like a founder who's definitely, like me, kind of been burned by big salaries, having teams, and then when you get stretched, it's that kind of. And now I think, personally, I'm at a model where we can bring in freelance people when things spike up and that sort of stuff, and you kind of understand the cadence of projects the longer you're in your thing. Right? So lean team is the way forward. Right?
Yeah, without a doubt, bro. Bro, if I said this to my CTO the other day, we're always tinkering with new ideas just to keep our brains alive. And I'm like, I'm working on something at the moment. I'm like, if we can scale this to X and there's just the 2 of us, gold. Yeah. Gold. I'm like, really? Do we need people? No. Then why bother?
Yeah.
It's just the truth.
If the money's coming in, it's working.
No. If the money's coming in, it's working. That's it. That's all I care about.
Imagine Insights is kind of pootling along at a nice pace. Yeah. How did you start it with the word exit in mind? What point does that come along in the journey, and then you realise, okay, this is A, I'm onto something, and B, someone might want to take it off my hands, and that's a viable route to then help me to go and do the next thing.
Yeah. I think a couple of my boys started exiting. My boy Timo was he exited Fan Bites. My boy Nick exited Goat, and I was like, okay, people are like selling their shit, and I was like, okay, this is a plausible thing. We could actually sell something.
So you didn't start the business with that?
No. I just started the business because I was like, I just don't want to work full time for anybody else. And actually, in hindsight, I now don't believe in that. I'm down to work full time for somebody and then build something on the side. Having that regular paycheck is wonderful, and I don't encourage people anymore. Like, quit your job and no. I'm like, mate, do it on the side, and then build it. And just take all the money and enjoy your life. I'm like, you don't need to. You don't need to. As long as you're doing your full-time job and that's not lacking.
It can be quite damaging advice, can't it? Because unless we've faced it.
Yeah.
Having months where you don't get as much in, you're like, shit, like what happens?
How am I paying my mortgage?
Yeah, exactly. I think, and then when we switched to Freud's and we kind of got acquired, you change to salary and everyone's on a salary, and it's a much different mentality. Yeah. But yeah, completely. I completely agree with that. I think I feel like LinkedIn, as amazing as a space as it is, it can get quite, not toxic positivity, but it's that whole thing of like, you need to be chasing your dreams.
Yeah, it's wanky.
Anyone can start a business. I say
wanky.
Not that anyone can start a business. Anyone can start a business, but I don't think it's, A, all it's cracked up to be, and B, it's going to yield everything for everyone. I think
agree.
Gary Vee did this thing a while ago where, classic Gary Vee, he was like, put your hands up in the room if you've started a business. And a few people put their hands up. Keep your hands up if you've kept that business going for 10 years.
Yeah.
And he's like, you guys are the real
Yeah.
rock stars, because it's so much rejection, so much failure. And actually, for all the highlights reels and the kind of grandstanding and the ego and the dick measuring that we get on LinkedIn and everywhere, it's pretty boring.
Yeah.
You have to just
a day in, day out.
relentlessly...
Yeah. Stay alive.
And I'd love to know kind of as we get into the sort of story of the kind of sale of Imagine and the sort of dopamine hits of selling stuff, but you have to go get a project, get a client, and then you can't really reap the rewards. You have to go and get another client. And it's like that's the difference. I think
Groundhog Day. Yeah,
people have that salary. That's a really big deal.
It's beautiful. And the thing is, as a founder, you get to the end of the month, you go, okay, cool, this is how much we've got, and the salaries are more than that, so I can't pay myself this month. Just what it is. Turn around to your partner and go, love you, we're not going to pay this month, so we have to make the savings stretch. Yeah. Or we don't have any savings. So what do you do now? Yeah. But to go back to answer your other question, that the idea of the exit wasn't really there. It was just start something, build it. Once my friends started to sell, then I was like, okay, cool. This is something that's plausible. This is something that could work.
Did you want in? Did you kind of see it and go, oh, I like the sound of that?
Yeah, for sure. 100%. I was like, okay, cool. We can take some cash off the table and then and get a solid salary and let it be somebody else's problem for a little bit. Like I was like, I'm down. Also, I think I had new ideas of things I wanted to build, and I was like, the day-to-day stress of running it just wasn't fun anymore.
Okay.
And I love the business and I love the team, and I just think it was getting to a point where I was seeing what was going on in the market research space, and I was going, okay, cool. Where do we belong in this? And we had a really good spot. We were really well known, really great clients, but I just wasn't sure what was next. And I didn't like that. I couldn't see. Normally I can see, and I'm like, I just can't see. I then began to get some more clarity. But by that point, I'd already put the exit to the back of my mind. I was like, let's just keep running. Let's just keep pushing, keep doing what we're doing. And then off the back of that, it was last summer, we got approached by a market research firm in the US. And they came to us like, hey, like we want to kick the tires, see what you guys are about, have a few meetings, whatever. So I'm like flying back and forth to New York to meet them. And it was...
How did those first conversations go when you were like, presumably not had this conversation before about selling, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like...
It was a lot of fun, to be fair.
Yeah.
Because it's like... And obviously, like, everyone blows smoke up your ass. You know, you guys are the best things since sliced bread. You're like, oh yeah, we are. Like, tell me more. Like, I'm so cute. you love it. So you're leading into it.
Is it easy to get kind of a little bit carried away with it?
Yeah, of course.
Obviously people are pitching to you, right?
Of course.
And you're kind of like,
You're like, wow, I am the best thing since the beginning of the time. Like, great. So you get caught up in that. And then people start making promises, and then we received an LOI, which is a letter of intent. So we were like, mate, like, this is legit. Took that to my so I took that to our key investors, to our board, and they were like, yeah, like this could work, and blah blah. They're like crunching the numbers, and then we started getting into the legal, and then everything just started to spiral out of control. So this is like started in May, and then ended in October, and nothing had gone ahead.
Yeah.
And over that period of time, it'd been like ups and downs, and like they weren't responding to texts, and then they would randomly like text me and be like, "Can you do a call in half an hour?" And like it was like, it was like I felt like I was dating like a toxic.
Energy shifted a bit then. And
yeah,
it was like,
and I was like, I don't know what's going on. And the thing is, they're great human beings, so no, like it wasn't against them. It was just there would have been a shift in their business.
Yeah,
they had a few clients cancel, which really affected their revenue. Yeah. So they were just like, we can acquire you, but it can look like this. And they were basically just like in this toying and throwing, like this tension going, we don't really know what we can do next. So we were just stuck. We were just like, okay. And I'd mentally checked out. I was in LA. I was like, because they wanted me to move to the US. So I was like, I'm moving to Pacific Palisades. I'm chilling. I'm buying a yard. I'm good. Yeah. Everything's kosher. I'm going to live by the beach.
Do you know what? When a project sort of gets looking like the buying signals and it's a decent amount of money, I've spent some of it, and I'm like, right, I'm going to buy that thing, and I've been on end buying some stuff, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm going to have to return this now.
Yeah, delete. So I'd mentally, I was like, and that's one thing I would encourage people not to do. It's hard not to do it because we're human beings. but I'd mentally started envisioning that. So because of that, then when it started getting weird, I was like trying to force it through.
Okay.
And it wasn't on anyone else, it was on me. I was like, come on, like, let's make this happen, make this happen. And then I had to, end of September, I had to go, Jay, I had to talk to myself and go, because I remember I was in LA, I was on holiday, and I'm driving in Yosemite. So it's like one of the most beautiful parts of the world in California. And I'm driving through Yosemite and I'm just stressed.
Yeah.
And I'm sat there and I'm like,
Shoulders are tight. Like,
yeah, all I can talk about is this.
With you, like,
I'm like, anybody that's around me, I'm like, bro, I'm trying to say, I'm like, and then gets in about September, and I have a very honest conversation with the gentleman that I was dealing with, and I was like, this isn't going ahead, is it? And he was like, I don't think so. And I was like, all right, brother, all good. No harm done. Appreciate you. Like, maybe don't text me for a couple of months, but we're good. Do you know what I mean?
So you had you could sense the energy shifting.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just like, it's an awful feeling, isn't it?
Yeah,
I've
for
had
real.
it when things are falling through or projects are falling through, and just the vibe gets off, and you try and force it a bit, but at some point, fair play for bringing it up with them and saying, look, was that just needing a bit of clarity at that point? Because you're kind of, I guess, in limbo. If you've planned, it's a big deal. You plan your future, plan where you're going to live, how you're going to structure the rest of the immediacy of your career, to then sort of have it kind of in limbo. It must be hard, right?
Yeah, for sure, 100%. It was. So I have a great therapist. I do EMDR therapy, which is like tapping and like, or like watching the light, which is great. Really good for it started with veterans with PTSD, so it's really good for people with adverse trauma, which I have. And it's that therapy was amazing during that period of time where I could just lock in on that. But also I do Brazilian jiu-jitsu as well. So I was like, I just went into the gym and just started throwing motherfuckers around. I was like, everybody's getting it. I'm like, who wants
Stay
it?
away,
I'm going for the biggest lads in the room. But it was amazing because it was just those outlets really helped me in that period of time just to deal with that stress. But it was all encompassing and overwhelming because I didn't know. I was like, I don't know what's next. Yeah. And it's go back to what I said earlier. I was like, I just couldn't see, and I really struggle with that because I like to have vision, and I couldn't foresee what was around the corner. And I think I was a tough person to be around for a couple of weeks.
I bet, yeah.
And then I was like, okay, cool, get yourself together, go to the gym.
Again.
Yeah. So go to the gym, go to jiu-jitsu, talk to your therapist, and just keep it pushing. And I think coming out of the back of that, I was able then to go, okay, cool. We're back to running the business. This is what we do. Build it back up. Yada yada yada. So I think it was definitely a lesson in not allowing. And I thought I'd learned that lesson, to be fair, but it was definitely a lesson in not allowing things to affect your core of who you were. Yeah. Because in doing that, it then rattles. I always pride myself on having an equilibrium. So whether it's good or bad, like I'm good. And in that moment, I allowed my equilibrium to get messed with. Yeah. But yeah.
Captain of the ship, aren't you?
Yeah.
So I guess if that wobbles a bit, then you've got staff, you've got a whole kind of perception around a business, you've got co-founders, the kind of people attached to it, where if they see you sort of
for sure.
having too much of a wobbly, it might throw the whole thing.
Yeah, for sure. Right? 100%. No, I agree.
So you kept it going, you pulled it back round, and then is it the next conversation around exiting kind of came about off the back of that, or was it happening at the same sort of time? Was it just kind of completely separate?
No, so I'd gone, okay, we're just running the business now. I was like, all right, we're just running the business. That's just the day job. I was like, just keep pushing. And I get a random email from Tina. So Tina is the chairman of Tomorrow Group, and she's a force. She's a force of nature. So I'd met Tina a couple of times at conferences. We didn't speak in depth, but I'd seen her about. And Tina just dropped me an email and was like, hey Jay, like I'd love to talk about an opportunity. And I was like, cool story, I'm busy, like vibes. But I was like, you know what, let's have a chat. So we jumped on the call. And she was just honest. She's like, listen, Stevie's leaving the business. So he was a previous MD of Disrupt. He's leaving the business. And I would love for you to take over. And I was like, cool story, but I slightly run my own firm, so I don't know how this would work. And she was honest. She's like, listen, she's like, if the numbers are right, we can make it work. We'd love to acquire the business. We think it could work in this way. And her ability just to pivot in that moment and just be like, yeah, cool. All right. I get it. I hear it. Like, let's see if we can make it work. And I was like, I want my co-founder to land well. I want to land well. I want my investors to land well. Like, how does that look? Yeah.
You haven't done all this for nothing. Right?
Yeah, like, for real. Yeah, 100%. I was like, I can't, because you want me, I can't then just be like, all right, sayonara, people, lovely, like great journey, I'm out. So I was like, this is what I want. I want everybody to win in some way. So she's like, all right, come into. Sorry, no. All of that to say, sorry. So in the first call we had, she didn't say she just said, Stevie, she said, I want to talk to you about an opportunity. Do you want to come into HQ? So I went into HQ, and then all of what I've just said happened in HQ.
Yeah.
So she said all of that, and I've not expected that. So I've gone like, cool story, like it's all possible, but I'm like, I need to talk to my co-founder. I need to talk to the investors about. I need to have all that kind of conversation. And she's like, well, while you're here, do you want to just meet the rest of the team? So I started bringing in my team that I work with now, bringing senior leadership from the C-suite. So I'm like meeting all these people. I'm like, cool, but like nothing's happening yet because I don't know what's going on. But
pretty ballsy.
Yeah, for real. But that's Tina through and through.
Yeah.
And this is why I get on with her really, really well, because she shoots very straight. Like she's like, don't like this. What's going on with that? Da, 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 da. And as long as you have the details, she's like, all right, cool, great.
Yeah.
Like, and then she's like,
that must have been so refreshing, maybe after having a period where you were kind of
for sure,
bit limbo, not really
100%.
sure what's. I've been through that personally too in business, and it can be quite debilitating.
Yeah,
You're
for sure.
kind of like,
Yeah.
"Oh, no one's getting back to me. What's going on with this?" So to have someone to be so like, right,
yeah, it was amazing. And I get on with Tina really, really well. I love how straight she shoots. So I left that room and I was excited, but at the same time I was like, all right, I need to go talk to my co-founder and my investors and be
don't
like,
get too excited, sort of thing.
yeah, because I was like, I don't know if they're gonna want to do this. So I was like, came over and I was like, said to my co-founder, I was like, this how the convo went. Like, what do you think? And she was like, could be interesting. We went to some investors. They're like, could be interesting. So like, let's. And after all we'd had before, it felt so much more straightforward. And also having a potential acquirer that was in the country was so much better.
Okay. Yeah,
because with New York, it was like different time zones and blah, blah. And like, you fly to
presumably
us.
slightly different laws about things and figuring
For sure,
things
100%.
out.
So, so then the conversation went from there, and I really wanted Tina to meet with my co-founder, so she met with Kat, and they had great conversations, and it kind of just like snowballed from there. And then the negotiations started, which was all fun and games. She's like, "You give me a number," and I was like, "You give me a number," and then we were like back and forth, whatever. We landed where we needed to land. I was happy, Kat was happy, investors were happy, and I was like, "Cool." So this is a thing. And then literally, compared to before, like within like a month and a half, like it was all done.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy. Due diligence, everything.
Yeah.
Right to the line, because transparently, my accountants were useless. So it was right to the line, but we got it done, got it finished. So yeah, I was super happy in the end, man.
And was that a combination of like earn out and kind of stuff up front?
Yeah. So percentage up front and then percentage on earn out.
How does that feel to get something that presumably it's you did the deal, so it's where you wanted it, right?
Yeah.
So to kind of feel like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
It's a bit of proof in the pudding that what you've been working on works, and it's
People are willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
You know that feeling when you've got your first client and you're like, oh shit, like wait, I'm legit. Like, wait, you're willing to pay me? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, here are my business bank account details, like that kind of shit. Like, I was like, oh wait, like this is like a legitimate. You want to pay us for the business? Okay, cool.
You can put exited founder into the LinkedIn bio.
Bro, that went up within seconds.
As soon as the DocuSign's gone, right?
Mate, as soon as the DocuSign was done, the next thing I did, I jumped straight into LinkedIn. I had my bio prepared. I slotted that straight into LinkedIn and just because the funny thing is, we were talking about this earlier. There's so many people who can say they started a business. Not many people say that they could sold a business.
Yeah.
That they've sold a business. Sorry. So for me, that was a big badge of honor to go. Okay, cool. Yeah. I took it. We took the plane and we landed the plane. And now going forward, you take all of those lessons to progress ahead. So yeah, it's been amazing. And honestly, I'm genuinely loving where I am, which is great.
Yeah. Well, congratulations, man. I
appreciate it, bro.
Oh, when I started Lawless, everyone was like, congratulations. And I'm like, what? It feels like a weird thing to sort of hear. But like these sort of stories, what you've achieved, genuine.
Appreciate you, bro.
Congratulations.
Thank you, man.
That's
Thank
like
you, bro.
a huge deal. And
means a lot,
I think
bro.
it's very, very inspiring to a lot of people that, you're absolutely right. So many people start businesses and so many people do these kind of side hustles. But to hear genuine stories that we did this, we weathered the storm, we got the business to a place, and then someone came along and was like, we like what you do.
Yeah.
I think, talk to me a bit about Disrupt, because it feels like, and tell me if I'm wrong, Imagine isn't the same business as Disrupt, right?
The Tomorrow Group, we have a series of companies within the group. So we've got Breda, which is like the data side of things. We've got Found, which is the paid social side of things. And then we've got Seed, which is AI. And then we've got Disrupt. So Disrupt is the influencer marketing creator side of stuff. So brands like we've got like Vinted, Netflix. We just won a massive brand, which I can't talk about yet, but I'm very excited about. We literally won them on Monday, and I was gassed because the team absolutely crushed it in the pitch, which is amazing. So we've got all these amazing like poster clients. And what Imagine does, Imagine adds in the qualitative data element for those clients. So for a lot of those clients, they're going, okay, how do we prove? Because they've got to prove ROI. So they're going, okay, we've done this campaign with you. So Vintage, massive client of ours across multiple different geography, sorry. Vintage are going, okay, cool. We're doing all this work, but we need to prove that's actually returning on ROI for the company. So Imagine and Breda, so the data element help do that. So they can go to clients and go, hey, look, this is what consumers think of the campaign that we've done, so on and so on. Or before a campaign goes live, let's test it with the Imagine community. What do you think we should do for da-da-da-da-da? And then go live. So it slots in really well, which is great. So it's like a perfect symbiosis there. But from my perspective, I don't have much to do with the day-to-day of Imagine now. So Kat, my co-founder, she still is in the ground on that, running the day-to-day with the team at Imagine, which is great. But Imagine's part of Disrupt, so it's part of the nice little family there, which is good because it's really that's where the main element would work from an Imagine perspective. We're doing really well. We're gonna have a massive year this year. We had a huge year last year. We're gonna have an even bigger year this year. So I just think it's very much going, okay, cool. How can we continue to push this out? Because the creator economy is only growing. Totally. So it's going, okay, cool. How can we continue to push the boat out and make sure that when people, the same logic I had earlier where I was going, okay, when you think of Gen Z Insights, you thought of my face. When you think of the creator economy, you think of us as a business. Yeah. And you go, okay, cool. Where have I seen that before? Oh, it's on Jay's thing. Oh, Disrupt, perfect. Those are the people we want to work with. So the keynote that I'm quote unquote taking on tour across different countries is around the art of storytelling.
Okay.
So the importance of storytelling, why storytelling has been core to who we are as human beings since the beginning of time, and how that story just weaves the whole way through, and kind of how we've lost that art because of platforms, and how we can bring that in and the importance of it, and how we're very good at doing that. But the beautiful part about it is there's no way throughout my presentation that I mentioned Disrupt until the last slide.
Okay.
So it's not like, hey, here's 95 slides about da-da-da-da. It's you go through, you hear the story, and then at the end they go, by the way, if you want to do this very fucking well, we're the people you want to talk to, which is great.
Okay. So you're taking that on the road now. But what are you excited about at the minute? What's really getting you excited with clients when you're kind of saying, well, this client are doing this, or this is a really good example of kind of influencer marketing, or this is where we're sort of heading as an industry and you should be. What are you trying to get clients to sort of jump into and lean into?
Really good question, bro. Nobody ever asked a question like that in that way, so I appreciate that. From our perspective, one of the main things we're very, very good at, clients will come and go, okay, we want to go here, and this is our end goal. And then what we're very good at is going, okay, cool. Normally, brands will send a brief to a creator, and the creator will receive it, and the brand's like, here's a whole bunch of mandatories that we're masquerading as direction. No, these are mandatory things you have to have in there. Our job is very good at going, okay, you want to get here. This is the overarching big idea that we've created for you. So let's imagine that idea is like scaffolding. So here's the big idea, the scaffolding around the building. We're now going to allow the creators to build their worlds and tell their stories within them. That's what we're very good at. Most creator agencies pretend that they're good at doing that, but what they're doing is they're taking the brief from the brand, they're handing it over there, and they're going, okay, now do some funny bits and make it a bit more like you. Yeah. We don't do that. We go, okay, cool. Here's the brief. Let's blow this up and make this into something that could be a huge idea, and then pass it to the creator and go nuts. So we're making sure that there's guardrails, making sure that you're not saying something, but we're going, just be yourself. Yeah. So for me, I see
less scripted then.
100%.
So brands that, agencies previously have been doing the scripted version, for sure. And you're saying almost like kind of let them, give them the guardrails, give them the scaffolding,
for sure.
Let them kind of go for
100%. And the thing is, I get it. I get why we would want to make it more scripted and so on, because it's safe. Yeah. But I don't really know how to do safe. And the great thing about Disrupt is we don't really know how to do safe. Like, we are an insane bunch, which is great, and it works. Yeah. And the reason why we win such massive clients, like Vintage started off us and they were spending 20 grand when they first started with us years ago. Now they're spending a lot more than 20 grand. Yeah. And it's the ability to scale that. They've stayed with us for that period of time because they're going, these guys are very good, and they do what they say they're going to do. So I think from our perspective, there's a complete, utter blue ocean in front of us, because as we're scaling the business, we're able to go, okay, let's take more risks, let's do more things. Let's find brands that come to us and we go, okay, if you want to do that, we're not the one for you. Yeah. There's thousands of agencies that can do that.
Do you do that much? Do you turn away?
Yes, 100%. Yeah, 100%. We've turned away stuff that we go, this doesn't make sense. I'm like, this isn't for us. And like Jamie, who leads up our sales side of things, he's very good at going, no to that, no to that, no to that, no to that. We want to do this one.
Yeah.
Because we want to do award-winning work. We want to do stuff that people go, this is sick. Do you know what I mean? Like you really want to be in on that. So that's what we're very good at. Building that scaffolding, allowing creators to build, and then just going absolutely insane with it, which is good. And I think that storytelling element is something that's going to become even more important. The Adidas campaign that just came out with like Messi and Timothée Chalamet, sick. Like that's storytelling. Yeah. At what point do you see Bellingham and Lamau play football? You don't.
Yeah.
You don't. It's just
that struck me. Yeah, you're right. You think the natural end to it
would be them kicking ball.
Exactly. Yeah, and
but
it's building tension throughout. I think it had really nice like getting Timothée Chalamet in is obviously
gold,
genius. But even Bad Bunny and Messi chatting in Spanish was quite a kind of interesting touch. Yeah. And in the storytelling arc, you get to the end, and the stars are, I guess, Yamal and Bellingham. And you forget, shit, actually Messi should. All the examples of Beckham and Zidane, it's like, why is Messi not down there? He's kind of almost like a deity up there. Yeah. There's so much kind of symbolism in it.
Yeah, for sure.
Adidas are having a good time.
Mate, they're giving Nike a run for their money, boy. But I think for me, I think the future is great storytelling. And AI is amazing, and we're implementing AI from an operational perspective across the business, and we're using it to make sure that we are doing great work. And the one thing I love about AI is putting even more of an emphasis on human creativity. Because what we're going to see is you could spend £1,000 on something generated by AI, and great, you can generate 1,000 of those, and it'll give you different ones every single time. Or you could spend £100,000 on something, and it's going to be generated by humans, created by humans, and you're going to feel it. Yeah. And you're going to feel that storytelling. You're going to feel what it needs to be. And I think that's what we're going to see more of going forward. And people are going to go, I want to spend money on that because that's the thing that's going to make me feel something. It's like having a Picasso print in your house that costs you $5 from IKEA, or having an actual Picasso. Yeah. When you walk in, you go, that's my Picasso print from IKEA. People go, sick. That's Picasso. And they go, oh, yeah, sick. And everyone just stands in silence and stares at it. That's the feeling that we want. And that's the feeling that we give to our clients.
Doors are open, presumably, for creator briefs, influencer marketing stuff, like that's everything. Your stuff. So are you out on the road now doing as many kind of, you said you're going to Rio, right?
Yeah. So go to Vancouver tomorrow.
Do you do much of that then, going just speaking in panels?
Yeah. So a lot of like, so one thing I love is doing a keynote and then having even a current client or a prospective client come up on stage with me. And just interviewing them. So doing a keynote, for my keynote's only like 9 minutes long because ain't nobody got attention span longer than that. So I do a 9-minute keynote, super light heart, like trying to get everybody to enjoy themselves, and then just go straight into a conversation for like 15 minutes. Yeah. And I love doing that because it gives a bit of that juxtaposition of that on stage, which is cool. So yeah, just taking that on tour, man. Vancouver tomorrow, then it's where am I next? Berlin, New York, Rio,
your passport
Paris,
like
Cannes,
stamped out,
California, New York again, bro. I'm generally, that's what I said, I'm loving it, bro.
Yeah.
And it's great because I just know at home the team are crushing it. Like that we won, I nearly said the brand then, Jesus. We won this massive brand on Monday, and really I didn't need to, like I got involved, but they didn't need me. They wanted me. And that's the difference. Like in a great relationship, you don't want to be needed. Yeah. You want to be wanted.
That must feel great as a founder because presumably you were pretty on the work when you were building Imagine, and it was that I find, I mean, even finding time to do this is difficult, right? It's tiring. There's so much going on. So you are the business's sort of marketing engine, aren't you?
Yeah, bro. And the thing is, I've just got heavy hitters in the team. Yeah, like I've got A players. Yeah. So I'm looking at it, and I remember reading something that Steve Jobs says. He goes, I don't want B players, surround me with A players. And it's just the truth. I've just got
sports team mentality.
Bro, 100%. I've just got people in my team that are absolute animals. And they're not all as extroverted as I am, but but I know if they say something, I'm like, cool. And I'll challenge it. I'll be like, yo, like, what do you, and I'll push them, and then they'll be like, nah, here's the data. I'm like, cool, I'm gonna go quiet. You know what you're doing. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's the best part is you can lead from the front, knowing that the people that are following up behind you are just going to absolutely crush it, and you don't need to worry about it. And it's the same with Tina. I said to her the other day, we're in a one-to-one together, And I was like, Gaffer. I'm like, I know one of the firm calls her Gaffer. And I was like, I love.
She like that,
yeah. So I was like, Gaffer. I was like, listen. I was like, whatever walls you want to tell me to run through, I'm running through. I'm like, everything else is relevant to me. I'm in this business. Let's push it. Do you know what I mean?
If you need me to go to Vancouver, if you need me to go to
mate,
Rio, I'm there.
Trust me, and honestly,
But not first class.
yeah, just not first class. Trust me, but I'm tired. Like, to be honest, to be transparent, like, it's not like, the funny thing is, and this is just a raw moment. Like, people talk about international travel, and oh my god, it's amazing. Which it is. It's amazing to see these places, but you're eating dinner on your own most evenings, reading your book. In the hotel, and people looking like, oh, why is this guy in a Chinese place? And it's just, the truth of the matter is, you're in these countries on your own for days at a time. You come home, life has gone on, and it's only a week. It doesn't feel like long, but like, I'm missing 2 weekends of football with the lads. Like, I can't play football with the boys. I'm missing 3 days of jiu-jitsu. Like, I'm missing bits and pieces all the time. So it's amazing, but I'm willing to sacrifice that stuff and sacrifice being at home with my family, because I'm generally just like, what I believe we can do at the Tomorrow Group and what we can do at Disrupt will be like, we can move the needle and we can do some real shit, and that's the stuff I'm excited about.
Yeah. Well, mate, your story is massively inspiring. Props to you.
Appreciate you,
making
brother.
it work.
Thank you for having me, man. Genuinely,
thank
bro.
you for coming on. I think there's so many nuggets in there. We'll clip it up, and let's get a beer in a few months' time, and you've come through it all, and I can hear a bit more about where Disrupt's going. But mate, well, Jay, legend. My man.
Thank you for having me, bro.